Okay, so carrying on where we just were. Water Jupiter. Water Jupiter. So, both water and fire Jupiter are very emotional, very instinctual. Again, right brain versus left brain of logic. Right brain of creativity, of inspiration. Water's a bit more reflective, though. Water's a bit more into feeling out life more than the fire energies are, or at least feeling out in a more introverted, introspective manner. And so those with the water Jupiter, Scorpio, starting with Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, their life purpose, their higher self, their higher learning, their luck, their expansion of their horizons, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all have to do with that side of themselves that's very much more reflective, much more introspective, much more nurturing and caring. To have a water Jupiter, especially to have Pisces and Cancer, but Scorpio too, is very much to gain higher purpose, to expand their life, their consciousness, through nurturing, through healing. And, of course, I mean, you have to heal and nurture yourself first before you can truly heal and nurture others. These individuals, it's very good for them to explore their emotions and to learn why what's happening is happening, to learn the higher purpose for their emotions, why they're feeling the way they do, because they learn infinite amounts then. Jupiter's, again, the largest planet in our solar system. Its whole energy is about expanding, about infinite expansion, and specifically expanding our consciousness, expanding our sense of self, and how to reach higher senses of self. So for water signs in Jupiter, sifting through your own emotions and learning how to heal yourself will raise your consciousness, will raise your sense of self, your philosophy of life infinitely. And as to with healing others. And that's when you get your most luck and prosperity in life too, is when you're healing others, when you're being reflective, when you're being emotional, when you're putting forth the effort to understand your emotions from a higher viewpoint. And this is perennial, you know? Jupiter, we expand constantly. There's no limit. So the more that you understand your emotions and yourself, the more you grow in all spheres of life. Okay, air Jupiters. So, Jupiter in Gemini, hello fly. Jupiter in Gemini, Jupiter in Libra, Jupiter in Aquarius. We have a fly joining us. Okay, focus. These individuals grow most through their intelligence. Their intelligence and communication with other people. All three of these energies reach higher senses of self, higher consciousness, and higher growth, higher perspectives of life, of themselves. Again, philosophy, of just understanding how and why. These individuals gain it most when they're training their mind, when they're thinking, you know? When they're seeing patterns and understanding how everything fits together. When they're talking to people and sharing ideas. And even when not explicitly sharing ideas, ideas are always being shared with those with this Jupiter. This kind of airy, again, fluidous Jupiter. The ancient Greeks, I don't know if I said this in the last vid, but the ancient Greeks said air and water were fluidous. And so very hard to pin down. And that fluidity, that flexibility, also lends to an air Jupiter's sense of understanding, of being able to take whatever input information there is, whatever conversation is happening, whatever, and understand the higher purpose for it. Understand the how, the why, which is what Jupiter's all about. Why? Why is this happening? Why did so-and-so just say that? Why is this idea good, or perhaps not so good? Those with air Jupiter learn most in interacting with other people. And this is especially Jupiter in Libra, but Jupiter in Gemini and Aquarius too. At some level, Aquarius is more the societal, Libra one-on-one, Gemini just really anything, anyone. When talking with other people, when conversating, and again, especially I should say, when sharing ideas, but even when not sharing ideas, those with this Jupiter energy are always learning, are always understanding higher and higher patterns, higher and higher reasons for life, for whatever is happening. It's very important with this Jupiter to travel and to see different perspectives of life, to understand that every country has its own way of being, it's its own entity, you know? And I've actually done a couple country readings. I've done so far America, the US, the UK and France, and one day I'll do as much as, as I can. So I really recommend that you check that out, because you'll get a taste of a different perspective. I'm half British. I've been to England so many times. I lived in France for a while. I've been to France so many times. And there really is such a huge difference in just being, in perspective of life, and how people interact, how people don't interact, what they think is important, how they enjoy themselves, what they value, what they don't value. All this is so awesomely interesting, and that helps grow your sense of just the world, let alone your sense of self, infinitely. And with a air Jupiter, even more so in so many ways. My fiery Jupiterness was inspired and I made all this art. Your air Jupiter will understand connections between people, connections between nations of people, understanding that this globe has so many more similarities between its citizens than not, which is so important to know at this time of globalization, when people are breaking down barriers with each other. We need air Mercuries. We need, not air Mercuries, we need air Jupiters. Of course, we need every Jupiter, though. We need every single energy out there to be as cognizant as possible of how we're all just human beings. And whether we're Chinese or Australian or South African or whatever, we're all human beings. And despite what differences there may be, and those are fascinating, beautiful differences, it's what makes each group of people unique, we have more similarities than not. We're all human beings. We have the same physiological needs, emotional needs, spiritual needs, yada, yada, yada. And so with an air Jupiter, it really behooves you to expand your horizons intellectually and in interacting with people that are very different from yourself. In fact, when I was living in France, one of my best friends had at that time, still has, Jupiter in Aquarius, and it was cool to see her incredible development. And she'd been over there for a long time, so she'd been developing this multifaceted view of the world for a long time, and it's very beautiful to see. We were good friends before too, and it definitely helps incredibly. So to recap, fire Jupiter, and then I'll get to Jupiter, Earth. Thanks for being patient. Fire Jupiter is all about inspiration, creativity, finding new senses of expression for that higher consciousness. That's why we have so many artists that have Fire Jupiter, who finds new ways of being through their just letting go and expressing, letting the fire burn as it needs to. You can't control that, you know. Fire Jupiter, you just gotta burn. Water Jupiter, exploring the emotions, analyzing, psychologically figuring out, why do I feel this way? Why does so-and-so feel this way? And then being able to heal and nurture that and let it grow. And allowing yourself to be reflective, to let those higher lessons come through you. And then air, like I was just saying, learning. Learning. People, communicating. So that brings us to Earth Jupiter. We have Jupiter in Taurus, Jupiter in Virgo, Jupiter in Capricorn. These Jupiters, individuals with these Jupiters like to build solidly. They're not interested in abstract ideas or fire creativity so much, or, you know, I mean, they may appreciate it, but their first impulse is, my life purpose is to build with a solid foundation and continue building on top of that infinitely. They're very practical, very technical, very interested in lessons in life that can be used practically, you know. Well, that's a great revelation, but how's that going to help me? You know, that's a very much a Jupiter Earth thing. And it makes these people incredible builders. They're able to have very earthy visions, revelations. You know, Jupiter, that planet of expansion, always. Those with Jupiter and Earth are very grounded and are very able to take those incredible visions and revelations that Jupiter bestows and make it a reality. Build something from the ground up that's going to last for forever. This is a very earthy, well, that's Earth. There you go. You know, it's that kind of energy.